Hello, friends and future friends, hopefully. Had a topic that I've shared with couples I've worked with many times to help them understand how their communication is productive and how it's not so productive. And just wanted to give you the brief of that today, since I've been thinking about it and mentioned that in my group this morning. Um, the pattern starts with kind of partly how part, with how we're wired as men and women and the basics around our gender. Now, stereotype, but I think this to be true for the most part. Um, our man's greatest fear is failure, and or what we look for most is affirmation and success and confirmation that we're doing a good job. And women's greatest fear tends to be abandonment or being rejected. Uh, so they want to know that they are enough, that they are desirable, that they are worth listening to and worth pursuing. So you got those two basic needs or basic fears and some of the related needs going along. Those two people interact, and what can happen? Well, you have the guy who wants to be successful, and so he's pursuing the woman, he's engaging with the woman, he's performing in a way that is getting him the affirmation, right? Oh, you're so amazing. Oh, you're so wonderful. Thanks for doing all that. I really appreciate it. It's great. So it gives him lots of good feedback, which usually then encourages him to continue doing the performance, right? That's natural. That's normal. That makes sense. And then you have the woman who's experiencing a guy picking her exclusively, usually, pursuing her, telling her she's beautiful, she's lovely, she's wanted, she's enjoyed, she's so special and precious. So, of course, she's going to feel great and be affirming her man for how loved she feels and how wonderful she feels. Great. So if that pattern continues, it's going to draw them closer together, right? Why would it not? It is one that is fueling the needs of each and going opposite of the fears. But then we have the reverse, which is I call the death spiral, and it looks like this a little bit. The man is performing his daily things, he's doing his job, but in that he tends to reduce the amount of effort and focus he's giving to his wife or his girlfriend, and she starts feeling less valuable, less picked, not really wanted. So, what does she typically do in response? Well, women, unfortunately, your propensity in that is to take control and try to make happen what you wanted to have happen, and that is to be picked. The technique that I often see that's used is to tell the man where he is not doing well and where he should be improving. Well, based on what I said earlier, you can understand that those things, those suggestions, so to speak, and those evaluations are probably not going to go very well with the guy, right? He's going to hear that as he's failing, he's not enough, he's just disregarded, disrespected, however he may experience that, but it's going to be a negative. And guys, how do we typically respond when we feel critiqued and criticized and evaluated and being falling short? Well, we tend to avoid those circumstances, right? We will distance ourselves. And if it is the woman in our life who is what we're viewing as the source of the criticism and the critique, we're going to pull away from her. We're going to disconnect ourselves. We're going to spend more time doing something else, less time interacting with her. Now, what happens on the woman's side? Well, she now starts experiencing even less attention, less focus, less care, less concern, right? Feels more like her husband or her boyfriend is picking a mistress, an activity, a hobby, work, friends, whatever else over her. So now she typically amps it up a bit louder because maybe if she makes it known where he's not doing well enough, then he will change, right? It's kind of the motive. So she steps closer to him, she pursues him, she reaches out and gives him more suggestions, more ideas, more information around how he can improve. And the guy just hears it as more criticism and follows the pattern of disconnecting even more. So now the relationship is spiraling out of control in a destructive way. Each of them starts seeing each other as a threat, as not a partner but an enemy, and they want to spend less time with each other. They get more bitter with each other. They start downplaying each other and viewing them as just not something they want in their lives anymore. So the ultimate result of that is destruction. The relationship breaks up, the people split up. Either if you're dating, the dating stops. If they're married, sometimes that ends in separation until they get their act together and deal with some of these things. And working with counseling, that is a very helpful process to change that pattern of the death spiral into a pattern of connection. And or it ends up ultimately in divorce. And the divorce, one other little tidbit on this, there is a typical pattern. This conversation pattern is one that sets up the opportunity for divorce in this, right? If the guy is feeling criticized and critiqued and not enough, right, from his girlfriend or his wife, but he would really like to have that attention and affirmation, and he's at work and he happens to have a woman there who finds him very successful and amazing and capable, and she starts affirming him and encouraging him and sending him nice notes or just noticing his performance at a meeting or whatever it is. And that's way more attractive, right? Everybody's going to want to pick the affirming person rather than the critiquing person. So now the man's thoughts start going to, wow, that woman seems better than my wife, and follow to the potential destructive end in that. On the other side, right, the woman is feeling not cared for, not paid attention to, more just sort of taken for granted and given the responsibility of taking care of kids or house, or just the one planning of dates or whatnot if it's just a dating relationship. But then she happens to be interacting typically at work, and there's a guy there who notices that she might look really good that day. That, wow, that's a really nice outfit on you. Kind of benign comments, but definitely affirming and valuing and having the woman feel special and noticed, and some man to be interested in her. So what's she going to typically want to favor is the situation and the person that makes her feel good, not the one who feels like she's not even important to. So there you go, kind of the death spiral pattern of communication between men and women, and the effect of that into ultimate destruction of relationship and possibly affair setups in that. So, but there is hope. There is ability to switch that around as we start understanding the other gender and we start communicating our heart to them, that we want them, that we love them, and recognizing the way we've been communicating that has not been working. And there's a lot more to it. There's a lot of pain usually to deal with, a lot of errors to correct, a lot of forgiveness to be given and shared, but it can be done. I've seen it. I've walked with couples through it, and I'm amazed as they change the pattern, their relationship becomes something that they've never necessarily even believed was possible. That it's safe, it's connected, and they feel loved and respected and committed, and If you want to affair-proof your relationship, affair-proof your marriage, that is the way to do it. Feed the relationship with good stuff that makes each partner want to come back for more, and that they're the source for that. So there's a brief. We'll talk more about this idea. I know I go live and don't go for very long, but I'm at least hoping to give you all information as we go forward. So go back and share the video, review it. If you have questions, things you want me particularly to answer, write them in the comments section. Be glad to add those to my list of topics I'm going to talk about and really help you as best I can, just giving you some information. I'm not counseling you. I am just providing some insight and maybe some different ways of looking at stuff that could be helpful for you. So until next time, cheers, be safe, and know you're loved.